The person who stays in a relationship long after the affection has stopped is not waiting for it to return. They are waiting for permission to leave. This permission does not come from the partner. It comes from the moment they can finally admit that the pain they feel now is identical to the pain they felt as a child, and that this recognition is more terrifying than the relationship itself. They are not staying for love. They are staying for the illusion that this time, the pain will resolve into something else. The mechanism does not care what they call it. It only cares that they remain in the pattern. The origin is not mysterious. The earliest caregivers did not teach the child what love looked like. They taught the child what survival looked like. If survival meant enduring silence, the child learned to associate silence with safety. If survival meant performing to receive attention, the child learned to associate attention with love, regardless of its quality. The template is not romantic, it is biological. The brain does not distinguish between the threat of abandonment from a parent and the threat of abandonment from a partner. The response is the same: heightened vigilance, emotional suppression, the quiet calculation of what must be done to prevent withdrawal. The child who learned to anticipate the moods of a volatile partner, the skill is the same. The cost is that they no longer recognize safety when it arrives. What this looks like in practice is not dramatic, it is quiet. The person who selects the cold partner does not do so in one grand gesture. They do it in small, repeated choices. They overlook the first dismissive comment. They rationalize the second. By the third, the pattern is established. They do not confront the behavior. They adapt to it. They become the person who can tolerate what others cannot. This is not strength. It is the absence of an alternative. They have never known a love that did not require endurance. The adrenaline of uncertainty becomes their baseline. They mistake it for chemistry. They say the relationship is intense. What they mean is that it feels like home. The intelligent person's version of this is more elaborate. They have read the books. They can name the pattern. They say they are working on it. They are not. The vocabulary gives them the illusion of control. They can explain why they are drawn to unavailable partners. They can cite attachment theory. They can list the red flags they ignored. None of this changes the selection. The knowledge is a shield. It allows them to believe they are different from the person who does not know. They are not. The mechanism does not care about insight. It cares about repetition. The intelligent person will stay in the relationship longer, not because they are more committed, but because they have more reasons to justify it. The high achievers version is even more precise. They do not select the cold partner. They select the partner who is cold in the exact way that mirrors their own self-abandonment. The partner who works late, who prioritizes ambition over connection, who treats love as a secondary project. This is not coincidence, it is calibration. The high achiever does not want a partner who will demand their time. They want a partner who will demand nothing, because that is what they demand of themselves. The relationship becomes a mirror of their own self-neglect. They call it compatibility. What it is familiarity. The cost is that they never learn what it would feel like to be chosen first. The person who has read about this pattern and now uses the vocabulary to avoid change is the most predictable. They say they are self-aware. They are not. Self-awareness is not the ability to describe the pattern. It is the willingness to experience the discomfort of breaking it. Most are not willing. They use the language of psychology to distance themselves from the pain. They say they are processing. They say they are healing. What they are doing is the same thing they have always done. They are waiting for the pain to resolve itself. It will not. The mechanism does not work that way. You thought of someone else just now. That is the protection working. You are thinking of the friend who stays with the emotionally distant partner, the colleague who keeps returning to the same toxic dynamic, the family member who cannot leave the abusive relationship. You are not thinking of yourself. That is how the mechanism survives. It redirects the focus outward. It allows you to believe this is about them, not you. It is not. The pattern is the same. The only difference is the mask. The cost is not the immediate pain. The cost is the slow erosion of self. The person who selects the cold partner does not lose themselves in one dramatic moment. They lose themselves in small increments. They stop expecting warmth. They stop asking for it. They stop believing they deserve it. The relationship becomes a place where they learn to tolerate less and less. The partner's indifference becomes their baseline. They call it realism. What it is resignation. The most insidious part is not that they stay. It is that they stop noticing what they have given up. The cost in relationships is cumulative. It is not the one fight that ends things. It is the 1,000 small moments of withdrawal that precede it. The person who selects the cold partner does not leave when the affection stops. They leave when they realize they have been living with the absence of affection for years, and that the person they have become in that absence is someone they no longer recognize. This realization does not come in the heat of conflict. It comes in the quiet moments, when they are alone, and they realize they have been alone for a long time. The cost to identity is the most profound. The person who selects the cold partner does not see themselves as someone who tolerates mistreatment. They see themselves as someone who's strong, who is patient, who is understanding. They do not see that these qualities are not virtues. They are adaptations. They are the skills they developed to survive a childhood where love was conditional. The identity is built on a lie. The lie is that they are choosing this. They are not. They are repeating it. The moment they see this, the identity begins to crack. This is the moment they are most likely to double down. The mechanism does not surrender easily. I do not have this pattern. I have only watched it. What I find remarkable is how little knowing that changes anything for the person who does. They can describe the pattern in detail. They can name the childhood conditions that created it. They can list the ways it has cost them. None of this dissolves the compulsion. The mechanism is not a thought. It is a feeling. The feeling is that the familiar pain is safer than the unknown. The unknown is not the absence of pain. It is the absence of the pattern. That is what terrifies them. Awareness rarely changes the pattern. It only changes the person's relationship to it. They stop blaming themselves. They stop believing they are broken. They see the pattern for what it is, a survival strategy that no longer serves them. This is not the same as breaking it. Breaking it requires something more than insight. It requires the willingness to experience the terror of the unknown. Most are not willing. They prefer the pain they know. It is not that they enjoy it. It is that it is predictable. The unknown is not. The rare exception is the person who does not just see the pattern. They feel the cost of it in their body. They feel the way their chest tightens when they are alone. They feel the way their stomach drops when they anticipate rejection. They do not intellectualize it. They experience it. This is the difference. The person who intellectualizes the pattern can describe it. The person who experiences it can no longer tolerate it. The first is still in the mind. The second is in the body. The body does not lie. The mind does. What usually happens is that the person becomes aware of the pattern, and then they spend years trying to outsmart it. They read more books. They go to therapy. They try to logic their way out of it. It does not work. The pattern is not a logic problem. It is an emotional one. The only way out is through the feeling. The feeling is terror. The terror is that without the pattern, they will not know how to love. They will not know how to be loved. They will be alone. This is the lie the mechanism tells them. The truth is that they have been alone all along. The pattern was the aloneness. The unknown is the possibility of something else. The person who breaks the pattern does not do so because they have found the perfect partner. They do so because they have stopped waiting for permission. They leave not because the relationship is bad, but because they have realized that the relationship is the same as the one they had with their earliest caregivers, and that this is not a coincidence. It is a repetition. They leave not because they have found someone better, but because they have realized that the problem was never the partner. It was the template. The template is not love. It is survival. They are no longer surviving. They are living. The last thing they expect is that the terror does not disappear. It changes. The terror of the unknown becomes the terror of possibility. The terror of possibility is that they might find something real, something that does not require endurance, something that does not feel like home, because home was never safe. The terror is that they might have to learn what love actually is. This is the work. It is not the work of leaving. It is the work of staying in the unknown long enough to discover what is on the other side. The mechanism does not end when the relationship does. It ends when the person stops asking why the partner hurt them and starts asking why their absence feels more terrifying than their presence. The answer is not in the partner. It is in the pattern. The pattern is not the relationship. It is the way they have learned to be in the world. Breaking it does not mean finding a new partner. It means becoming a new person. This is the part no one tells them. The pattern is not just what they do. It is who they are. Changing it means losing the only version of themselves they have ever known. This is why most do not. The cost is too high. The unknown is too vast. The person who stays in the relationship long after the affection has stopped is not waiting for it to return. They are waiting for the moment they can admit that the pain they feel now is the same pain they felt as a child, and that this recognition is the only thing that will ever set them free. The mechanism does not want them to see this. It wants them to believe that the pain is the partner. It is not. The pain is the pattern. The partner is just the mirror. The mirror does not break itself. They have to break it. The question is not whether they will. The question is whether they can tolerate the shards.